Hello, we are Group 5 presenting our assistive device project and presentation. This presentation will be presented by William Barquin, Kirsten Cabatu, Domingo Sandoval, and Kaitlyn Sebastian.
Okay, so to kick off this presentation, we're going to introduce you all to our client who goes by the name of Hans. Hans is a 42-year-old male who was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 3 years ago. He also has a past medical history of having hypertension and type 2 diabetes. Other than these things, he is relatively healthy and active. His interests lie in staying active and playing sports such as pickleball and spending time with family and friends. The reason for his referral is that his moderate rheumatoid arthritis has been causing frequent flare-ups and affecting his grip strength and endurance, causing him to drop the paddle at times, along with pain and swelling through his fingers and wrists. So how has rheumatoid arthritis impacted the client's goals in life? Hans started playing pickleball, but he cannot play an entire game due to pain through his wrist and fingers, as well as frequently dropping the paddle due to the decreased grip strength that he is currently struggling with. He wishes to be able to play an entire game without having to drop the paddle, having to stop for any extended amount of time, and he wants to be able to reduce pain and swelling so that he has a more enjoyable overall experience while playing with his teammates. So let's look at some contextual factors affecting Hans. Physically, Hans has access to courts, paddles and equipment, and people who wish to participate in pickleball. His social circle is large and is very supportive, though he does not have any other friends who suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. Culturally, he lives in a society that values well-being and staying active. The only problem is that they don't always have equipment that is adapted for people with various needs or specific things that they are unable to do. And institutionally, insurance does not fund AT devices for leisure, but he does have insurance and it does cover OT services. Now let's look at device recommendations and our rationale for them. So the major features of the brace is that it allows for minimal to no grip on the paddle. This allows it to be flexible for any type of grip limitation or ability. It is also comfortable and non-restrictive. By being so, it increases the usability and safety of this device. It's stable enough to last an entire game without wobbling. This gives it functionality to be able to perform within the game and the motions needed for the game. And lastly, it is lightweight. This will assure for longer and extended wear time without fatiguing.
Introducing our client's custom-made hands-free pickleball paddle.
The purpose of the hands-free pickleball paddle is to help reduce any pain, discomfort, and strain on the joints. It makes up for limited grip strength and endurance and ultimately supports independent gameplay and social interaction. This adaptive pickleball paddle is designed so that the user can easily handle the device on their own without any help. Some examples of conditions that may benefit from this device are individuals with amputations below the elbow, Erb's or Klumpke's palsy, or carpal tunnel, to name a few. A great thing about this device is you can use it virtually anywhere. You can use it as often as you please at both indoor and outdoor pickleball courts, the gym, you name it. It's ideal for those whose grip strength reduces over time, those who suffer from pain or swelling in their arms, or those who require a hands-free solution.
So now let's look into how the device was made. So as we've discussed before, we knew there were definitely major features that were crucial in implementing into the device, such as allowing for minimal to no grip on the paddle, it being comfortable, non-restrictive, stable, and lightweight. After taking in some more factors, we concluded that it should also protect skin integrity, which means it should not involve parts that could potentially scratch the skin. It should allow for free elbow and shoulder range of motion, and it should be cost effective to cost at most $20 if possible, since we know that insurance will likely not cover assistive devices for leisure. So after looking at some of the materials that we used, you'll notice that most of them can easily be found in a hardware store or in a craft store. the most expensive of which would probably be the pickleball paddle itself, if you don't already have one, or the wrist orthosis, which can easily be found at around $13 to $20 at a pharmacy or online. Moving on to how we built the device and the fabrication process. After acquiring all the materials that we needed, we ensured a proper fit of the wrist orthoses to the client. We measured and cut a plastic insert, which is where the paddle will be attached to and not the orthosis itself, to protect skin integrity. We attached the paddle with multiple zip ties that connect to the plastic insert, and then we added extension Velcro straps to go around the paddle handle and the orthosis itself. After securing everything, we checked the orthosis fit again to make sure it was not too tight, while also maintaining stability of the paddle so that it was not wobbling or moving around too much. Some precautions to keep in mind while fabricating the device are, since we're using scissors or box cutters, it's important to maintain safe distance and handling of sharp objects. Here are also some precautions for the use of the device, which will be more elaborated in the demonstration video. Now it's time to hear some more information about the device and see it in real action.
All right, so now we're going to go over some contraindications for using this device. First, you want to make sure you don't have any type of skin lesions, any cuts. Next, you want to make sure if you've had any fractures or currently have a fracture, also not going to use this. And then if you have sensory impairment or edema, this isn't for you. So donning, you're going to want to grab the hand that you're not using this to support while you put the dominant hand into the brace as so. And once you're here, you're going to take the first strap and you're going to grab that, make sure you wrap around and securely place that one. Next, you will grab the second strap and do the same thing. And what you want to make sure is once you have that on, that you still have room to comfortably fit 2 fingers so it's not too tight. Now, the next thing you want to make sure is if you have this on precautions, you want to make sure that if you tend to sweat a lot, there's always an option of wearing a moisture wicking sleeve or some other mesh netting inside that will help absorb that moisture. The other thing you want to make sure is do frequent skin checks. If you feel that anything feels uncomfortable, is slipping, anything like that, be aware of that. And then, as you can see, you can adjust this, constantly make adjustments to make sure that fit is nice, secure, and without issue.
Very nice. Just keep going.
That was the big.
Nice. Now we will be talking about the device's product features.
Under usability, there are 4 components, the first of which is learnability. The device is easy to learn how to don on, off, and use. Also, it's not a complex tech, it's more a soft tech because the emphasis is more on understanding basic precautions and guidelines rather than extensive training. The next component is memorability. It's easy to remember because there's not that many steps. And then the next component is satisfaction. It allows the user to go back to desired occupations. In this case, Hans wanting to go back to pickleball, and that'll produce higher satisfaction. The next component is ease of use. There's only 2 steps, and also it doesn't require much physical effort. This device is easily portable, just like a regular pickleball paddle. It just has the arm attachment to the racket, which is great, so you don't have to worry about losing it or misplacing it. Another benefit is this orthosis provides a larger surface area to hold onto and carry around, which makes it easier for somebody with RA. And the next benefit is aesthetics. The fabrication of the device could also be made with materials and colors that the user likes, since these materials are easily accessible. And a limitation includes the orthosis is attached to the paddle, so may not fit in a commercially sized bag. This device is very durable because it's made out of hard plastic and cloth materials, and also it's been tested to withstand repetitive forces. That's a few benefits, but a limitation, I want to hit on this a little more, which includes the current materials not being strong enough to withhold different paddles. Our paddle is a wood material, and we use softer materials because of that, but there are some paddles that are fiberglass or carbon fiber, and in that case we would need to use a lightweight metal instead of softer materials. The maintenance on this device is pretty easy. How we would do that is by giving the user or caregiver training in any expected issues, like the paddle becoming too loose. And how we would do that is by educating them how to find the correct materials at a hardware store or a craft store. And some precautions to look out for is, since this is a commercially manufactured orthosis, we have to look out for the user's arm getting too sweaty during the use, and then in that case the user could wear a thin mesh sleeve to prevent any sweat from soaking into the orthosis itself.
Finally, we will be talking about the teaching learning process for the client and use of the device.
In order to ensure that the client uses the device safely and enjoys it long term, we'll start with providing a clear verbal walkthrough of its benefits, its features, and also tips on how to maintain or repair it to keep it in good condition. Next, we'll demonstrate how to put it on and take it off, and how to properly adjust it in case of any discomfort while playing in the future. Then we'll have the client practice putting it on and taking it off by themselves. And then finally, which is the fun part, we'll carefully observe the client while they practice playing pickleball with the device on. Then lastly, we'll provide a clear handout with all of that information, including the materials that we use to make it, for an easy reference anytime.
Plan for consistent use of the device. Through routine inspection, you can check to make sure that the straps, zip ties, and overall integrity of this orthosis are intact. When you notice something isn't, you should be able to replace any of the components that may have started to break down, as well as store it properly so that it lasts longer. Lastly, when you have a tournament or you're going to play, working with your teammates or loved ones can help you warm up and make sure that everything is working appropriately on the device so that you are ready to play the game without issue.
Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.